Yeah.
Tank is one of the most interesting fighters to watch because he's so different. His style is so different. You know, he's so economical. Like, he puts pressure on guys without throwing too many punches, and then starts to figure holes out, and the way he can explode and move in with one shot, my God.
Yeah, he's very explosive. He's very explosive, and, you know, man, he be cracking them dudes. Hey, he be putting them to sleep.
Just cracking people.
Don't dub it on, though. I'm not
Joe Rogan saw the new photos of Tank Davis and his jaw dropped. The famous podcast host couldn't believe how much bigger Tank looked just 2 weeks before his fight with Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That sink.
Tank Davis is known for fighting at 135 pounds. That's super light. But when Rogan looked at the new training pictures, he saw something completely different. Tank's shoulders were huge. His chest was thick. His whole body looked like he had been lifting heavy weights for months. Rogan said on his podcast that Tank looks like he's been forged in a powerlifting lab. This isn't normal for a boxer who usually weighs 135 pounds. Tank is getting ready to fight Jake Paul on November 14th in Miami. But here's the crazy part. Jake Paul weighs around 200 pounds. That's 60 to 65 pounds more than Tank normally weighs. It's like a high school kid fighting a full-grown man. Rogan has always loved watching Tank fight. He thinks Tank is special. Rogan said,
I'm a giant Gervonta fan. I think that guy is so unusual.
Yeah.
His style's so unusual, and it's like patience.
Yes.
Yeah. But he finds these openings, and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like, when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level, he probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got
What makes Tank different? He doesn't throw a lot of punches early in fights. He just waits. He watches. Then, boom, he finds the perfect moment to strike. Most world champions throw many punches in the first few rounds. They want to score points and stay busy. Tank does the opposite. He has the lowest punch count in early rounds compared to other champions. But Rogan explains why this works. Tank has what he calls a nuclear option. When Tank hits someone clean, they usually go down hard. Tank knows this. He has massive confidence in his power. Rogan started thinking about how the extra weight would affect Tank. Will he be slower? Will he lose his quickness? Rogan doesn't think so. He actually believes Tank might hit even harder. The extra muscle could give him more power in his punches. His hips could turn faster. His shoulders could drive through his punches with more force. Then Rogan made a comparison that got everyone talking. He said Tank is like a mini Mike Tyson with modern training science. Mike Tyson was known for destroying opponents with brutal power. Tank does the same thing, just at a lighter weight. Rogan said Tank is built to detonate, not just box. Rogan also had a message for Jake Paul. He said if Jake thinks Tank is coming to win on points, he's out of his mind. Tank is coming to end the fight early. He's coming to knock Jake out cold. The podcast host loves how Tank has evolved as a fighter. He said, this isn't Tank Davis version 2, this is Tank Davis unleashed. Tank has the skills, the power, and the brain to do great things in boxing. He's a wild guy from Baltimore who fights like nobody else. But Rogan is also confused about this whole fight. On his show, he talked about how weird it is. He said,
that's crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
That's
Paul,
boxing right now.
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They're all expedition.
None of them are.
They're exhibitions.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis are so crazy. 135 versus 200, that is so nuts. When someone asked what it means that this is an exhibition, Rogan said,
just means nobody wins.
They're not, it's kind of,
it's weird.
I don't want Jake.
That means nobody wins. It's weird. Let's talk about the actual fight details. Tank will weigh in at 195 pounds for this fight. That's 60 pounds more than his normal fighting weight. Jake Paul usually fights around 200 pounds. He even weighed 227 pounds when he fought Mike Tyson last November. For this fight, both guys will meet at 195 pounds. Tank is 5 feet 5 inches tall. Jake Paul is 6 feet 1 inch tall. That's an 8-inch height difference. Jake will be looking down at Tank the whole fight. Tank will be looking up at Jake's chin, or really at Jake's chest. The fight will be 10 rounds. Each round is 3 minutes long. Tank is used to fighting 12 rounds when he fights for world titles. Jake has never fought more than 30 minutes in his boxing career. They will both wear 12-ounce gloves. Tank usually wears 8-ounce gloves. Smaller gloves mean punches hurt more. This fight almost didn't happen in Miami. It was supposed to be in Atlanta, Georgia, but the Georgia Boxing Commission said no. The chairman, Rick Thompson, was very angry about the fight. He called it the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's a money grabber, and I'm not okay with that. So they moved it to Miami instead. Even though this is called an exhibition, there will be 3 judges scoring the fight. If nobody gets knocked out, the judges will pick a winner. So it's not really just for fun. Someone will win and someone will lose. Now let's talk about Tank's training. His coach, Calvin Ford, is planning everything very carefully. They know Jake is much bigger. So what's the plan? Go after Jake's body. Not his head, his body. Tank is eye level with Jake's belly button. That's not a joke. Tank can't easily punch Jake in the face because Jake is so tall. But Tank can punch Jake's stomach and ribs all night long. If Tank keeps hitting the body, Jake will get tired. His hands will drop. Then Tank can go for the knockout. One boxing expert said,
ridiculously hard for Tank to actually knock Jake out. That's like 70-pound difference, 60-pound difference. That means something. And Jake's not some guy that's never thrown punches. He's a relative novice when it comes to, skill level that Tank has, but still, he knows how to protect himself. And again, his body structure allows for some mistakes to happen that he wouldn't have to pay for like he would if he was 135 pounds. Point being, I would be impressed, very, if Tank knocked him out cold or dropped him with some, hurt him.
I see a guy that's targeting the body, and it's the best thing that Tank could do for this fight. Body shots hurt bad. They make you tired. They make it hard to breathe. If Tank lands enough body shots, Jake won't be able to finish the fight strong. But let's be honest, knocking out Jake Paul won't be easy. The size difference is real. Jake's body can take punches that would destroy a 135-pound fighter. Jake knows how to protect himself. He's not a world-class boxer, but he's not a beginner either. It would be ridiculously hard for Tank to actually knock Jake out. That's like a 70-pound difference. That means something. Even though Tank has incredible power, physics matters. Jake's bigger body can absorb more damage. Not everyone is happy about this fight. Lamont Roach Jr. was supposed to fight Tank in a rematch. Instead, Tank chose to fight Jake Paul. Lamont Roach Sr. was angry. He said,
it's not good. It's not good for the sport. A lot of people say, oh, money this and money that, but you got to do business the right way. You know what I'm saying? You got guys on that other side, especially fighters, that take time out of their life, train, you know what I'm saying, get their coaches and sparring partners. They go different places, travel. They best a lot of times in their career, and it's a lot. So, when they get back, they get news like that, you know what I'm saying, it does not receive well. So, But we solid. We're going to stand 10 toes down, man, and we're going to see what's next for us.
Roach's point is simple. Tank had boxing business to finish. He had real fighters waiting for him. Instead, he went to Netflix to fight a YouTuber. Roach said when fighters train hard and then hear news like this, it does not receive well. Lamont Roach Jr., the fighter's son, was even more upset. He thinks Tank is scared. When asked if Tank will fight them after Jake Paul, Roach said, I think he's
Gonna get that rematch fight versus Gervonta after this fight?
Who knows? He said he's retiring. I believe him. I think he's scared. So if he's going to retire, I believe he's going to retire.
You think he'll retire after the exhibition match?
I think so.
Why do you say that?
Because he's scared.
He believes Tank will retire right after the Jake Paul fight. But not everyone sees it that way. David Benavidez, a famous boxer, understands the money part. He said, I just want to see Tank fight Shakur Stevens, Devin Haney, all the fights, man. These are the real challenges. These are the fights boxing fans want to see. But Benavidez also gets it. He said about the Jake Paul fight, "I know it's going to be a big fight with big money. If you can make millions of dollars, why wouldn't you? Tank is making about $40 million for this fight." Benavidez explained this isn't really about skill. He said it's not really about the skill, it's about the size and the skill. Tank is so much smaller. If Tank lands a good shot, the fight could be over. But Jake is so big that if he lands a good shot, he could hurt Tank too. Abel Sanchez is a famous boxing coach. He was very honest about this fight. He said, "As a fight fan, I don't like the fight. But as a coach, I think it's a good move for Tank." Why? Because too many boxers end their careers with no money. Sanchez said, "I've seen too many kids go out of this sport with not a cent in their pocket. If Tank can make generational wealth from one fight, that's smart business. Boxing is dangerous. Fighters should get paid while they can." Sanchez also talked about Tank's background. Tank grew up fighting bigger guys on the streets of Baltimore. He was always the little guy. He learned how to fight people bigger than him. Sanchez said he's always been the little guy, so he knows how to fight those big guys. Does Sanchez think Jake Paul is dangerous? No. He said, "I don't think Jake Paul is a threat. If Tank connects with the right hand, Jake is going down. Simple as that." Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White looked at the betting odds. Tank is the favorite at -175. Jake is the underdog at +136. White said he would bet on Tank. Why? Because Tank spars with people much heavier than him all the time. Tank knows how to deal with bigger opponents. White said, "I don't know if a guy that size is going to be fast enough to catch Gervonta clean. But Tank, he is going to catch him." White believes Jake is fighting a real champion this time, not another YouTuber or retired fighter. White also made something important about skill. He pointed out that fighters who started at ages 8, 9, or 10 have too much experience. Jake started boxing as an adult. Jake will never catch up to that. We just got too much time in. So what does Tank's new body look like? People say he looks massive. His lightweight frame is gone. He's walking around with thick muscles. His chest is out, his shoulders are wider, his arms look like he's been working out with power lifters. But here's the key. Tank isn't slower. Every movement still looks quick. Every punch still has snap. This isn't just size, it's smart size. Tank isn't trying to be as big as Jake. He's trying to be strong enough to hurt Jake while keeping his speed. Remember when Terrence Crawford moved up in weight? People said he would be too small. He would lose his speed. Then Crawford fought Canelo and looked amazing. He was bigger, sharper, and faster. That's what Tank is doing now. Tank isn't adjusting to Jake's size. He's turning Jake's size into his next big knockout. Tank said, "You gotta have confidence." He can read body language. If Jake is nervous, Tank will see it and take advantage. Tank also knows the pressure. He said, "You need a performance of your life. Whole world watch, big stage, record audience, millions watching." This is huge for Tank. It's not exactly the same as his other fights because Jake is different than anyone he has faced. This fight means more than just boxing. It's influencer culture versus real fighter culture. It's the internet versus the streets. Jake wants to prove he belongs in boxing. Tank wants to show that real skill beats internet fame. If Tank knocks out Jake, boxing wins. The sport takes back respect from the influencers. If Jake survives or even wins, it changes everything. Jake becomes the biggest story in combat sports. One expert said,
Jake is good, but he's not on Tank's level. Fighters who started as kids have too much experience. Jake can't catch up to that. This fight will stream on Netflix on November 14th. You can watch it with any Netflix subscription. Even the cheapest plan at $7.99 a month will work. Joe Rogan summed it up perfectly. Tank is unusual. His style is unusual. He's patient, powerful, and smart. Now he's bigger than ever before. Whether Tank knocks out Jake or Jake pulls off the upset, this fight will be remembered for a long time.